Way. This is awesome. I've got two guests tonight. I'm so excited. Y'all wait until you hear what they've got to say. You are going to absolutely love it. I'm really, really excited about this. I haven't known too much about this. I'm just starting to learn, but this is a service for Eastern North Carolina that we are so desperate in need of. And you all know, anybody who watches my show knows my platform and my soapboxes: eat fresh, eat healthy, no fried foods, no fast foods, no processed foods, drink lots of water. And these girls are going to back me up. I am so excited. We've got a registered dietitian here, and she's going to talk about some things, and a director of a for-profit, a not-profit business, that's a big job, being a boss or an administrator over anything and everything. But anyway, my name is Linda Preziosa. I'm a nurse practitioner. Y'all know who I am. I've done this for 10 years. But anyway, here's to your good health. And tonight I've got two ladies from the POE Center, P-O-E Center, of which I'd never heard of until this week, and I'm very excited about it. So we have Ann Rollins, who is the director, and then we have Rachel Pullman, who is a nutritionist, a nutrition and physical activity senior director. So, and you know, I like lots of exercise too. I believe in movement. I don't like sitting. Yeah. So we're going to just start by asking you know me, I'm going to ask a few questions, and they're going to help me not run down the rabbit trails that I normally run down on a Wednesday night. So, Ann, tell me a little bit about how you got where you are. What's a little bit of your background?
Oh, gosh. So I was a microbiologist for 40 years at Wake Med Hospital in Raleigh.
Okay.
But I laugh and tell people I must be bipolar because I love doing literacy and health literacy in particular.
I love it.
And so I got involved at the POE Center on their board of directors and as a volunteer, but then was working in the school system and worked with mentoring. And then when the POE Center needed a new executive director, I was approached and we discussed it, and I started in 2010 and haven't looked back.
All
and
right, you've been there.
We're very excited. So I've been there for a few years.
Yeah, that is awesome. And Rachel, tell me a little bit about you.
Well, like you said, I'm a registered dietitian, and really my focus has always been in public health. A lot of it is attributed to my parents. My dad was at NIH and in the public health service. My mom's an educator, and I feel like I've kind of blended their two focuses. But really my inspiration was my grandfather. He had diabetes, and I really saw firsthand how it impacted his life, a lot of the pain that he had and how it limited some of his opportunities. And I always thought, growing up, that it was just unfortunate. Like, it was just kind of bad luck that he had that, and I didn't know until I was older that it was type 2 diabetes, and he was never coached to eat more vegetables, to go on walks, to do any of those changes. And it just inspired me to make sure that people had the tools and had the resources and had the option to take power of their health where they could.
Oh, that's awesome. I am so pro. You've got to take care of yourself. You know, your doctor can tell you you should do this and this, and some are good at it and some aren't. But you've got to do it yourself. I can tell you to exercise, but I'm not going to push you off the couch. So I think that's great. What an inspiration. That's awesome. So all right, we're going to move right into it then. So tell us about the POE Center and the work you do in North Carolina, Ann.
Well, the POE Center is getting ready to celebrate 35 years in the building that opened in 1991, and we do universal prevention education across North Carolina in all the health-focused areas, and we align it with the General Assembly's assigned helpful living curriculum that the Department of Public Instruction aligns those goals and objectives. Then we do programs, direct education. And we do that in our dental, our general health, our substance use prevention, MindWell, anti-bullying,
Wow. You got
family life,
fingers in a
but
lot of
also
places.
nutrition, physical activity. We have a teaching garden and a teaching kitchen, and then we teach in our teaching theaters, but then we spill out to our Playwell Park. That's one-of-a-kind, health-focused playground. We've just added our mental well-being garden and labyrinth, and we are in a capital campaign right now and working on a capital project to re-energize or add to the health-focused playground. So the pieces of equipment are being built and customized so that they have health-focused messaging, and it's open to the public, and we're really close to Rocky Mount. We're right on the east side of Raleigh, and so we hope that people that live here or traveling that way or coming, that they'll enjoy being a part of that, and we hope they'll play with us, and hopefully they'll learn a little bit.
I'm going to come play with you.
Yes, we want you to come because we have a team of health experts that also, they're health educators, and they have a passion for those different areas. And so they're teaching in one of those health areas or multiple, and we can have classes or groups or faith-based groups or our community groups that come, because we work with preschool through senior adults. And so they can come to the Post Center, or we can come to them off-site at their school or a community center or other community places. And we work with farmers and food banks and others to distribute
it's
this message and education.
Awesome. This is
And
so exciting.
Yeah, we even have data to back up that, over 87% of our participants report that they've made a health change as a result
That's
of
great.
working
That's a
with or
great
having programs,
statistic.
yes, at the Post Center.
Wow, 80%.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So we say we can do it on-site, off-site, and online.
There you go. On-site, off-site, and online. That's pretty good. I like that. So that's good, because people that live in Edgecombe County, for instance, might not have the ability to drive, or a lot of people are afraid to drive to Raleigh.
Right.
And they're afraid of that traffic.
Sure.
And it can be a bit intimidating. I'm not afraid of it myself, but I can see where people are, and
So we can come to you, or we also have some online programming that we're able to do with some of our cooking classes and some of our other classes that we do.
Wow, it's awesome.
Yes.
Just awesome. So, and then I see that you work with, I don't know what the term is, with SNAP. So Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. That's a federal program, is it?
It is, and it is housed in the USDA Department of Agriculture, but we're also, it's a flow through to the state, and then we contract with the state of North Carolina to provide this nutrition education programming that includes not only healthy eating, but physical activity, and working and learning to shop on a budget and to learn to have healthier behaviors for a lifetime.
That's good. Budget today is important, isn't it?
Well, and SNAP-Ed is in jeopardy in that the House has voted to eliminate SNAP and SNAP-Ed. And so we have been working with them for over 20 years, and we have evidence that it does work. It is an evidence-based program that does improve people's lives, particularly low-income people that are not able. And we're finding in North Carolina the seniors that population is just growing and growing, and
Yes.
we don't want them to feel like they're not going to be able to have access to fresh food and healthy food, or access to, we have a program we love, and Rachel can talk further, but with Stay Strong, Stay Healthy, and being able to find food to eat.
Right, right. And you know, a lot of people with transportation issues and everything else, they have to buy what's at a convenience store. And you
Yes.
might find an apple or a banana, maybe, and that's about it.
Yeah,
And water. But you know, they're going to buy soda because it's cheaper,
yes.
which doesn't make sense to me, but I don't make the rules, I just follow them.
Yeah, that's funny you just asked, because I was talking to someone that had worked at Coke and now is, we were talking about how they donate the soft drinks, but you have to pay for the water. But I think it's because they don't produce the water, they have to purchase it. And so
It doesn't matter. They make enough money. They can just give it. I'm not going for that one little bit. And I have a dear friend who's worked for Pepsi here in town for 40 years, and I love her. She's my friend. But that's just.
Well,
I can get on a soapbox. I better be careful.
We
I
do
better
a
be
lot
careful.
about rethink your drink, because we know that in Pepsis and soft drinks that there's a lot of sugar, as we were talking about. There's a lot of sugar in some vegetables and other things
gosh.
that we're trying to provide education
Yes.
that there are other ways to use spices and other things to make
Yes.
the flavor
That's
very
right.
appealing.
That's right.
And that's what we do across North Carolina. But we've had a big focus. We do a lot of programming in Nash, Edgecombe, and Wilson counties, and so we're happy to be here to talk about
I'm
what we
so
do
excited. I'm
And
really-
yeah, we really
a-
appreciate
Healthy
your,
eating is it's a passion of mine.
well, thank
And
you.
And
And as we are too, we are passionate, and as we've said, been doing it for over 20 years, and we would be sad to see if, you know, we're able to continue to provide this essential
certainly hope
education
so.
around
Yeah,
nutrition and
yeah,
physical activity.
Yeah. Well, I guess that remains to be seen, doesn't it?
It does.
I'm not political, so
Yeah,
I have
and
my
we aren't either.
I have my views.
We
like
wanna-
water from Pepsi. That's a view.
Yeah. Well, we just know that that's a universal health, and you know the effects of type 2 diabetes
do.
and
I sure
and
do.
how that has increased to probably close to 50% of Americans are
know,
dealing with that.
We are fighting a marketing guru in healthy. Like, oh, you don't have to drink the sugar in the Coca-Cola. We'll give you a diet Coca-Cola.
Right.
Okay, well then that's full of chemicals. So now we're looking at, we might not have sugar, but we're going to have cancer. I mean, you know, I tell my patients, if God didn't make it, don't eat it. Don't drink it.
And we know that SNAP-Ed is effective, and it helps with chronic disease, because $1 that SNAP pays can save $10 of later health care cost. And so that is a pretty good return on your investment.
Yes. Yeah, I know, you know, because I work here and I'm a nurse
Yeah.
practitioner, I mean, I've had women that feed their children McDonald's 3 times a day. They don't know how to cook, and they get X amount of dollars, and they just take their little money and go and feed their
Right.
kids, you know, whatever it is. And I'm like,
And that's a big part of the work we're doing
Yes.
through SNAP-Ed is helping reconnect people to fresh food, making it more familiar, helping them get comfortable around it, and really how to prepare it, how to store it, how to taste it, because it's very intimidating to buy fresh food if you don't know what to do with it, and then it might rot before you get to it, or it might not taste good. And so if you have limited income, you don't want to risk it on something like that. You
Right.
want something that you know will be eaten. So that's a really big part of our program is we do a lot of garden to kitchen work and promote that fresh food.
do you I'm kind of going off program here. But do you teach like canning and freezing techniques to preserve food? Is that part of your?
It is in the works.
Okay.
We do have all the equipment and are planning to do that. We have really focused a lot on food waste reduction. So we've got programs where we can, we do shopping, grocery store tours, little food waste reduction. So really that involves everything from menu planning, so you buy exactly what you need, to using more of the food that you're preparing and having less waste, and then how you store it so that it doesn't go to waste, and just making those, and then being able to do things like can and freeze so that your food
I do a lot of
keeps-
canning.
Yeah.
If I make a big, I live alone, so, and I can't make anything in a small amount. So, you know, I make a big old pot of beans
Yes.
that it'd take me 6 months to eat, but then I can them. And then, you know, and I like, personally, I like canned food better than the frozen, because if you've got something frozen, you got to think about it. Oh, well, I'm going to have that soup tonight before I go to work. I take it out, but I don't think that way. I come home and say, I want some of that soup. Well, it's frozen solid.
Yeah.
But if I can it, then all I have to do is heat it up. So, and I grow my own vegetables and can a lot of my
We need to
own.
buy you a crock pot.
Oh. Actually, I'd like a new canner. The canner I have was my mother's, and it's probably 70 years old, but it
We can have you come to Poe and do a canning
Yes.
worked.
There you
That's
go.
right.
We have the equipment
Yeah,
ready to
that's
go.
right.
You're invited.
All right, y'all, you already got me off track. I'm off time. I don't know about these girls from the Poe Center here. Anyway, we're going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to talk and hear about what Rachel has to say. She's the dietitian, so don't go away. Listen to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Hang on.
I've ever seen. He's compassionate. He really cares about his patients. I told him, you were my guardian angel. My experience with Nash was A+. I said, any surgery I need here on out, give me a blank piece of paper, I'll sign it. I want you to do it.
Learn more at nashsurgery.com.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
What is Celebrate Recovery? It's a Christ-centered, faith-based recovery program for anyone dealing with life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Celebrate Recovery meets every Thursday night at 7 p.m. at Farmington Heights Church in the Wilson, Raleigh, and surrounding areas. Please join us every Thursday night at 7 p.m.
Practitioner here in Rocky Mount at Family Medical Center, and the owner and operator of the Essential Health MediSpa here in Rocky Mount. Tonight we have two representatives from the Poe Center. We've heard quite a bit from Ann. She's the executive director, and not that she doesn't have more good things to say, but we're going to move on a little bit to Rachel. She is a registered dietitian, and I'm going to let her explain to you her position and what she does at the Poe Center.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Rachel.
So the Poe Center, for the nutrition component, the majority of our funding comes through SNAP education from the federal level. And for the Poe Center as a whole, that's about 50% of our work. Through this funding, we're able to provide education around nutrition and physical activity, and there are really 3 branches of what we do. So there's the direct education, which we've talked about, and I'll go into each of these a little more. We do a lot of social marketing and social media, and we do what's called policy, system, and environmental change. But what that really means is we're going out into communities and helping to create healthier environments where it's easier to practice healthy behaviors. So going back to the direct ed, on average, in an average year, we will serve 9,000 individuals with SNAP Ed programming, and many of them come back for repeat programming or in a series, so the total number of contacts is more around 20,000 a year. And that includes just learning about My Plate and how to incorporate fresh food and fruits and vegetables into your diet, drinking more water. You know, we do a lot around gardening. That's a very popular program.
That's good.
And then the importance of being active and making it play. And really, these are all things that we focus on celebrating. It's not something you have to do. It's something you really get to do, and celebrating the joy of fresh food and being active and outside and playing. We've served a lot of programs out here in Rocky Mount. We've the Coker Wimberley Elementary School has been one of the schools. We've been to several Head Starts in the area. For those, we usually come to them. They're not quite up for the big field trips yet.
I'm glad to hear you say that. You got to start young, right?
Yes.
I mean, we need to get the moms that are feeding children, and we need to get the elderly who need to eat healthy, but you gotta start. That's great.
Yeah, we do quite a bit.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's fine. We do quite a bit with the Head Starts, and I'll go in when I talk about the environmental change, working with the community. We definitely work with the pre-K as well. And then we know, like Ann had said earlier, we know that these are effective because 87% of our participants are reporting a change. And for those who do the multiple programs or series, we're able to really see measurable change. So people eating more fruits and vegetables, drinking more water, being more active. So the next branch was social marketing, and there's 2 main components for that. In the summertime, we do a big social marketing campaign, so it'll be running here, and thank you to WHIG for running our new ad.
Good.
I'm very excited about that.
Yes.
So we've been doing this for about 10 years, and again, promoting those same things: water, physical activity, gardening, fruits and vegetables. And the campaign typically reaches about 9 million people. And when we do our survey at the end to see if people have seen it and the impact of the people who have seen it, about 70% say that they've made a change because of the campaign. And then this year we have a brand new ad, and we're very excited. It is really about how parents and guardians are still the biggest influencers for their kids. And so that they're watching you and your habits become their habits, and so really encouraging, again, those healthy behaviors.
Yeah.
So then, along with that, we have our ongoing social media, which I'll talk about a little later. Hold on.
Okay.
And then the community work serves on a number of different levels, but that's really, we have a region, and this is one of the regions where we make sure that we serve on coalitions like the School Health Advisory Council and partner with major partners like Downey's Partnership for Children. But we also find partners who are interested in doing things to create a healthier community, and we figure out where we could come in and support that work. A lot of it lately has been around gardens. I think especially since COVID, people have become very interested in growing their own food and learning how to do that. And so we have gardens at the pre-Ks, the early child care
Kids
centers.
that age love that kind of stuff. They are
really
into
do.
it.
And they tell their parents, one of them, they're very into family engagement, and so the families adopt the different planters, and the kids tell their parents, like, you're not going to let my plant die. But they're out there with their little gardening cans, and they are part of the harvest, and they set up a little mini farmer's market. But most important is these families, the director of the daycare was telling us how they were not used to fresh food when they start there. And then as they get involved and get engaged and start bringing food home, they get really open to it, to the point where they start asking, like, when is that going to be ready? When do we get to eat this? And they get very excited about that.
Do you let them? I know you said you had a kitchen. I know my daughter-in-law. She had a child who wanted hot dogs, corn dogs, and spaghetti. One of those. You know, that's all he
Yes.
ever would want to eat. And so she started getting Bentley, come and help me cut up these strawberries. You know, and then he might take, oh, this isn't too bad, Mom. And that's how she got him engaged. So
Exactly.
I guess you do stuff like that as well.
So the more familiar, and I think for all ages, really, you know, I always think if I went around the world and had food that I'd never been exposed to before, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to put that in my mouth,
Yeah.
but like the more familiar you are with it, you know, these kids are involved from when it's a baby plant to the harvest.
right.
They can be involved in the menu planning and the recipes and the cooking. Even, you know, little kids could do things like snip herbs or, you know, stir things and get involved, and then they want to taste it because they've been engaged, and it doesn't feel like a strange creature to them that you just slapped down on their plate. You know, it's something that they were really a part of.
It's really immersive.
And I can see where if you're used to eating things one way,
Yes.
and then, you know, you come along and you present that green bean in a different form, you know, where it, I can see,
And that's where
I
the
get that
cooking
way
classes,
a little bit.
Yeah, that's where the cooking classes are so important, because, you know, it is that barrier of, well, what if we don't like it, or what if I like it but the rest of my family won't eat it? And so, and that's actually where the virtual programs, people really like the virtual cooking classes because they're at home in a familiar, comfortable environment. They don't need to pay for childcare because they're at home. But everybody in the house gets to taste the food we make. And so that way they know, okay,
I'm going to watch
everybody-
those. I don't like
everybody
to
in the
cook
house
by
enjoyed it,
myself.
and
I
we
can
can
be
make
with
this
somebody.
again. And then we also really talk about adapting the recipes for your own personal taste as
Sure,
well.
of course.
So, you know, if you're in a family that likes to spice things up a little bit, you know, how can you modify it so that it's more to your liking and things like that. But it's all very adaptable recipes, but with that healthy base and everything with affordability in mind as well.
That is just so awesome. I love it. I love it. So, do you want to move into the social marketing now, or do we want to talk more, continue to talk about the rest of the programs first?
We can talk about sort of the impact of these programs and why we do that. if
Okay,
that's all right.
sure, of course.
So there is a survey that comes out every year of youth, and it has found that in North Carolina, 50% of high school students are not eating their daily fruits and vegetables. 76% are not getting their recommended physical activity. And we know the outcomes, you know, you see in your practice what happens when, you know, people aren't able to nurture their health. Obviously, you know, there's a lot that you can't control, but, you know, being able to at least take control of those factors gives you a better chance of avoiding some of those disease and having better quality of life. And so we really get to see in our programs some of these changes happen. And
That must be really exciting
really
and
is.
fulfilling.
yeah, and one of my absolute favorites, Anne had mentioned earlier, is Stay Strong, Stay Healthy, which is more physical activity focused. It has some nutrition woven through it, but it's for senior citizens, focusing on strength training and flexibility, and the goal is really to increase independent living and decrease the risk of falls, which is so important.
Yes.
And just a couple stories. So I get very attached to them because we're with them. It's 16 classes, and we're with them long enough to see them get stronger. And there are a couple times, there's two different men, these were in different classes, but they were both gentlemen who used walkers. And one of them, about halfway through the series, started coming to class without the walker.
Oh,
As
wow.
he was getting stronger. And then
Yes.
the other one, he was at a point in his life, he's moved in, his adult children are taking care of him. And before the class, he was never able to get out of a chair by himself. And every time he wanted to move or go do something, he'd have to start calling for his daughter to come get him out of the chair. And she noticed again partway through the class, he stopped calling for her, that he was able to
That
get
is
up and take care of
awesome.
himself and do what he wanted to do.
Wow.
So just being able to see moments like that are
Yes.
just so meaningful.
I can just see the smile on his face when he got out of that chair by himself.
Yes.
That
And the
is-
surprise on his daughter's
Yes.
face.
and the gratitude, right?
Yeah, it was sort of this, you know, realization, like, wait, he hasn't been calling for me.
Yeah.
You know, he's been able to get up and do things
Yeah.
on himself.
Wow, that's great. That is awesome. got another story? I like your stories.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see, I already talked about the families. You know, we do a lot of cooking with younger people, you know, more like elementary, middle school age, high school. And they want to bring that home and share it with their family. And we've had a parent tell us, like, one of the dishes that they learned every single time they're at a cover dish, you know, bringing something, they're bringing that dish, and then other people have taken that recipe and it's been passed around. But the other really great thing that she shared with me is that the mother has to work evenings, and so she would usually give some kind of processed food to her daughter to eat while she was gone. And now that she's taken these classes, she felt safe letting her daughter make some of the simple meals that we put together, so she was able to eat fresher food.
That's
And
great.
So I thought those were great.
Yeah.
I'll tell one more story. Is that all right?
Yeah, no, we got plenty of time for stories.
Yeah, another one that was really beautiful, I hope I could do it justice, was we work a lot at Fort Bragg Military Base. We partner with a community center there called Rick's Place. And we've been doing cooking programs with them for years now, and went virtual during COVID. And there was a mother with 2 daughters, and the husband was deployed, and the cooking classes was just talk about what a great connection it was for them, both connecting to other people because they were feeling very isolated, and it just helped them connect to other families, help them connect with each other. And then during the holidays when the husband came home, she and her 2 daughters were able to make all the recipes and present it, you know, and share it with the dad when he was back. And just what a special moment, how much it meant to them to be able to share that and have those connections.
And how that child must have been so proud to make something for her daddy like that. That's just awesome. That is great. I love your stories.
Thank you.
Keep on keeping on. All right. I guess we can move into your social marketing. Or did we do that? Oh, we did that.
We did that.
We
We
did
also
that.
have social media, which I can talk about.
Okay, go ahead with that.
That's
so important these days, isn't it?
Yeah. So in addition to our big campaign in the summer, we have social media throughout the year under the POFIT title. And so you can find us giving daily tips on Instagram about nutrition, physical activity, and gardening. We also do monthly YouTube videos that are garden to kitchen. And those are really fun, but really
I'm gonna have to look all this up.
But really taking, you know, how you care for this plant in the garden, and how you harvest it, and then taking it to the kitchen and sharing a simple recipe with it. And then in addition to our social media, we have a website with a lot of resources. So both resources for more technical things, like we've got a kitchen page and a garden page on there, and so you can learn about gardening in different seasons or food safety and food storage, but also a lot of fun things too. So some of the fun things, they're really cute. We have these selfie apps. Some turn you around your face, turn into a fruit or
Veggie
vegetable.
hands.
So you could be a giant broccoli.
Oh,
We also
I want to be a carrot. They're skinny.
We have
we do
that.
have a carrot.
They're tall and thin.
Are tall and thin.
And then we have a brand new one where you become a pollinator, like a bumblebee. And then we have lots of games too for kids. So there's a Fortnite-based platform.
I've never
not of
played
the
it, but
generation.
I know
But
of it.
a lot of people really like it. It's called Neural Fortification, and it's all about having a growth mindset and making healthy choices, and it includes all of our program areas at PO. And then there's a brand new one called Soups On, where kids can learn about the 5 food groups while they are virtually making a pot of minestrone. And then, those are more of our other components of our social marketing and social media.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm going to have to fire up on my phone
Yes.
and
You
find
need to do
Yeah,
that.
I
yes.
do. I do.
You can be a carrot head with a carrot top.
Yeah,
even.
well, then I was thinking, well, maybe because I want to be tall and thin, maybe I should be an asparagus. An asparagus
Maybe.
spear.
So interesting. We added asparagus to our garden.
Well, there
this
you
year.
go.
So you can do it real time when you come and play with us.
That's right, when I
Right.
come and play with you. All right, it's time for our next break. And when we come back, we're going to finish up with these lovely ladies and find out more information of the Post Center. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
When Jay arrived at the emergency department with a hernia, he was in pain, scared, and unsure of what would happen next. That's when he met Dr. Clarice Monnier.
The way she conveyed, it was something that I could understand. She didn't talk over my head. She called me at home on her cell phone just to see how I was doing. They really treated me like family. I just can't say enough. I wouldn't be hesitant to come back here.
Learn more at nashsurgery.com.
We're in our 18th year of practice at the Hammer Chiropractic Center, and we've seen over 15,000 different people in the Rocky Mount area. 40% of headaches actually come from a neck problem. Many patients come in taking multiple aspirin, over-the-counter medications and such a day, and we can get you to stop doing that and actually fix the problem so the headaches don't rise anymore. A lot of people think chiropractic hurts. It does not. Most of the people come in and they feel great when they leave.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
What is Celebrate Recovery? It's a Christ-centered, faith-based recovery program for anyone dealing with life's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Celebrate Recovery meets every Thursday night at 7 p.m. at Farmington Heights Church in the Wilson, Raleigh, and surrounding areas. Please join us every Thursday night at 7 p.m.
All right, welcome back. This is Here's Your Good Health. I've got Rachel and Ann from the Post Center, and we've been talking as much in between the show as we have on the show. So these ladies are a wealth of information, and I love to learn, and I'm learning a lot tonight, so I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for the Post Center. We're going to talk about a few more things, and then we're going to highlight the Post Center and how you can get to them, how you can watch them on YouTube, how you can Instagram, whatever. We'll get to that in a minute. But I think we decided that we'd finised our notes. Was that right?
There's a conclusion still with Ann.
Oh, there's conclusion. Okay, well, let's do the conclusion. I don't know. I need them numbered, 1, 2, 3. But anyway, is that you? Are you on for the conclusion?
I can help and Rachel can supplement.
Okay.
But the Post Center is here to support our North Carolina citizens and communities and families. And SNAP-Ed is really a way that we have found that's evidence-based, but also is communal and relational. And it's really one of the only programs in the nation that provides support for nonprofits like the Post Center to be able to go out and to spend time with pre-K in the garden or Stay Strong, Stay Healthy with seniors and everything in between. And teaching about healthy habits is what our mission is. And so being able to do that. But we really want your viewers and our viewers to realize that pohealth.org is a great resource full of different online interactive programs that you can. We have an interactive kitchen, we have our interactive garden, let's say that you're not really where you can go to the grocery store every day because you live in a food desert. So this actually tells you how to start your own garden and what you need and how to do that. And then we have upcoming events. We have a list of what programs we offer so that you can tell your teachers or teachers that may be listening may want to book a program with us, or community organizations, because we do a lot with others like the health departments and faith-based. And then following us on social media, because we do have these tips. And the YouTube videos where our health educators are taking a vegetable and really creating, those are so fun, and they're short little clips, but they're educational, but they're fun.
Right.
And so our website truly is a great resource, and you don't have to leave home for that.
Right, and most people at least have a phone, if not a
Yes.
computer, so they
Yes.
can. It's a smaller screen. I realize
Yes.
it's a little bit harder to navigate, but
Yeah.
you know, can still enjoy the benefits that you have.
Absolutely, and hopefully they can get to the veggie heads and the carrot tops through our website as well. And then doing soups on, and we also have an interactive brain that you can download it and you can put it on your dining room table, and you have somebody to talk to, the brain, as
Well, that's
you're
probably what I
eating, so you're not eating
I live
alone.
by myself. So there you go. I'm going to get me a brain. That's what I'm going to get. There you go.
And then Rachel, you know, I know you probably have a couple of other stories related to, particularly, I think, the example we have with a couple of farmers markets. Because we do a lot with farmers markets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another thing that a lot of people don't realize is that SNAP-Ed really supports local agriculture in many ways. You know, people are eating more produce, for one thing, and that's probably the biggest. But we also, when we're working in the community, we've been able to help both support and revitalize farmers markets, and then bring in resources like provide a senior day to help bring extra food and resources to senior citizens, a buyback program from the farmers. If they don't sell everything, we're able to buy the produce and then distribute it to area pantries, as well as a group home for the elderly, having a summer meal site there, and just so much more. And then being able to use your SNAP or WIC benefits at the site.
Right.
So really being able to support that and support the local farmers. So.
And we have our wonderful Wednesdays in the summer. We provide open summer feeding because the federal government is providing when kids are out of school in the summer. And so on our wonderful Wednesdays, we have free meals for kids 0 to 18, and they're able to come in and we provide some programming and fun
That's
things for
great.
them to do, and some informational things.
That's awesome.
So it's really a fun time, and a lot of our preschools, but even our elementary schools do some programming. And hopefully if kids are in a structured environment, or they're not, or their families are having to come to Raleigh, that could be they may want to pick Wednesday because they can run by and have lunch and then keep going.
Keep doing what else they were
Yeah.
going there for. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So, Rachel, I was going to pick your brain a little bit about water, because
Absolutely.
it's
Yes.
so important. And a lot of people don't like plain water. They just don't like it. And they want a little flavor, or they want a little carbonation.
There you go.
right, yeah.
I got a little bit
absolutely.
of sparkling, plain water, 0 calories.
There you
Perfect.
go.
So this is especially important in the summertime too, because it's really critical that we stay hydrated in this heat.
Absolutely.
So the first tip is to have a water bottle. Just bring it with you. Have that visual cue to stay hydrated.
This is not what to do. Do not do this. This is wrong. That is right.
But I would rather have you drinking water than not having
Well,
that.
I do recycle these. It
The
came out of my
other
refrigerator.
thing, you mentioned flavor.
Yes.
And so there's a lot of different things you can put in water to add flavor, such as as slicing fresh citrus, putting strawberries in there, any type of fruit.
Cucumbers. I love
Cucumbers is a
cucumber
popular.
water.
People have
Mint.
strong feelings about the
Mint,
cucumber.
yeah.
We add mint
Yeah.
and basil and lemon balm from the garden. Just refrigerate it and it gets nice and cold and also keeps it from spoiling. And then that really adds, you can do whatever combination makes you happy,
Right.
but that really adds a surprising amount of flavor to the water. And then for those who really miss those bubbles, you can do things like get the
Right,
different seltzers.
right.
Those are usually 0 calories, come in a wide variety of flavors. Or if you're kind of in transition to, but you can mix it with a little bit of juice so you've got the bubbles and some of that fruit flavor.
Right. And I do that sometimes. Sometimes I want a little flavor of something
Yeah.
because I drink water. Water and coffee is really all I
Yes.
drink. But sometimes you want a taste.
Yes. And I also find in the
But you know-
summertime, you really, like sometimes you crave a little
Yeah.
bit of that from, I think you probably lose a lot of salt from your body
Right.
from the sweat. So
Right.
it's nice to have a little
And
extra.
for people that are on a tight budget, mint, if you even have it in a, well, they say just do it in a pot because if you
Don't
put it in your yard,
It-
it takes over. So you'll have a
I-
ready supply for your
Yes.
water and your meals. And so that actually is something that for people that are on a budget and want the flavor is a great way to go
Right.
because then you have it
Right.
and you can, it reproduces very generously.
It does. It absolutely does. And that's putting it in a
Sure.
nice
Yes.
way because it's taking over part of my yard. And
But it tastes good too in water.
It smells
Particularly in the
good.
summer, like you say. You can and you can use it to decorate your house too if you like fresh
yeah.
things in your kitchen and the smell most people like.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So I tell my patients, and I don't know if this is right or not, but I found something called BAI, B-A-I water, and it's calorie free, and it has different flavors, and I've read the ingredients, and it's not
Yeah.
chemicals I can't read.
There are quite a few different things to add to water like that. My main caution would be, knowing the ingredients, really
Right.
understanding what
Yeah.
you're putting in your
Right,
water, and
right,
making sure you're
right.
not just adding another
That's right.
sugar packet in
That's
there.
right, yeah.
But even with things, if somebody usually buys store-bought iced tea or gets it from carry-out somewhere, it's so much better to do that on your own because a lot of those that are already bottled or from a fast food place have around 17 teaspoons of sugar in them.
Yeah.
And when you're making your own, you can control. You could still add a little bit of sweetness and maybe just add 1 or 2 teaspoons instead of those 17, and that's going to make an enormous difference.
You know, I'm one of those damn Yankees. I moved down and never went back home. And,
Thank you.
And I don't get the whole sugar and tea thing. I just don't get it. I don't like it. I love unsweetened tea. I was raised on unsweetened tea. And that summer, I mean, in the winter when it's cold, I'll put a little honey in my tea. I like that. But
Speaking of, we have, you can't have food without bees. So we also
That's
have
right.
bees, beehives, and we have bees. And the kids love learning about that as well and how that relates to pollinators. And I mean, the garden is just such a wealth of information, and young kids, and all kids, but in their families, then they want to grow their own
Right.
food, or they want to look at how what you put in, or
Right.
or what you put in your water as
pretty
well.
fascinating what that one little bee can do.
It is so
Yeah.
amazing.
I've got bushes in my garden for butterflies and for
Yes.
bees, and
Yes.
I'm big on honey because
Yes.
it's so healthy for you. You have to eat local
And it never
honey,
goes
but
bad.
I know that kind of
It
freaky,
never
isn't
goes
it?
bad, isn't it?
I was just reading about
So we
that.
talk about that and how you can, if you buy honey, don't ever, because you can regenerate it, and so we talk about
Yeah.
if it goes to crystallization,
you can make it liquid.
make it
Yeah,
liquid again.
Yeah.
So, not regenerate.
And
We're not that special. We think we are, but
Yeah, I
we're not.
know. And the honey can, instead of being kind of golden, it can turn a little bit more brown too. But
Yes.
it's still, it's
Yes.
so full of so many nutrients.
Yes.
And of course, it has to be local.
Yes.
So, I can't, if I eat honey that was produced in California, it's not going to be as healthy for me as if I get it from Nash County.
And we have a lot of beekeepers in the area, so there's a lot of options to get that local honey.
Yeah, I've got, I live out in the country, and there's a doc that lives across the way from me, and he has bees.
Oh.
And so every once in a while he'll call, Linda, you want some honey?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a place in North Carolina that is very rare, and we've tasted it, that makes purple honey.
Oh,
in
really?
Chatham County is where we've
Is it from
gotten
clover or
before.
something? What's
that
the
the kudzu?
purple?
I'm not sure if it's kudzu.
Oh, really?
And it doesn't happen every year.
Oh, really?
It's rare to get it. And that does,
I got to look that up. Purple honey.
Yeah, you should look that up. It's a special breed, and it doesn't happen every year even.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yes.
Because
yes.
they feed off of what's around and take it back. So
Purple honey.
yes,
How about that?
yeah.
All right, well, why don't you, we got a couple minutes left, so just give us a general overview of what you do, and do you take donations, or?
Oh yes. We
So-
would love, yes. See these hands?
They're always open,
They're very
right?
big and they're always open.
All right, well,
We do take
Okay,
donations
so
and
if-
sponsorships.
Okay.
And you can do that online, or you can write a check. For people my age, we still write checks.
Yes, I'm right
Venmo
there with
me. But we do have on our pohealth.org, you can donate now
Okay.
and support us. You can even become a monthly donor. Some of us are monthly donors to the organization, and when it is automatic through your bank, then you don't
You don't
many
think about
times
it.
realize it, and you're supporting a good cause.
Absolutely.
That's teaching about healthy behaviors across
That's right.
North Carolina.
And you're helping your fellow man.
Yes.
And, just using this avenue
And
instead of
yourself,
another one.
because hopefully you're not supporting my poor health.
That's right. I see poor health every day, so
Yeah.
that's why I'm so big on
Yes.
health, eating healthy
And
and
starting,
moving.
better start early. So that's why we like to start with preschool and
Right, that's right.
move all the way up and help seniors to be strong and healthy, and ways to do that.
Yeah, because you fall and break a hip, it's all over but the shout.
yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yes.
so it.
Yes. And Rachel would.
Oh,
I would just say,
yes,
I would just
Rachel.
like to reiterate that about half of our budget is supported through SNAP education,
Yes.
and that is very important. It allows us to do all the things that we were talking about this evening, and so just really wanting to make sure that people are aware of that connection. And if anybody has a story about their experience with SNAP Ed, there's actually a social media campaign too. You could go to SNAP Ed Works and share your story.
Because people don't know. I
Hashtag
didn't know.
SNAP
Yes. I know we hadn't met before, but now you're going to come play with us.
I am. I'm gonna, and I can bring some money for you.
You can.
And I can.
And you can bring a couple of friends and their
There was, we have a culinary school here in a local community college, and so the chef, one of the chefs at one time came. I love okra, but I don't like the slimy stuff, right?
Right.
And so he taught me how to, you take the whole okra, I call it with the little hat, I don't know what the stem, with
yeah.
the stem, and I just wash them and I put them in a hot oven, about 500 degrees for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Salt and pepper, a little bit of olive oil.
A little garlic.
Take it out and toss it with garlic and Parmesan
Yes.
cheese. Girl,
That is how I make it too, and you don't have to deal with all the slime getting in
It
the cutting
is so
board.
yum. You never
I've never
Rachel,
had
you've
that.
got
I
to make
know.
it for
Rachel,
her.
you
It's
need
so
to-
good.
Yep, yep.
I need that
No
recipe.
chopping, no nothing. You just
I know.
roast it,
I know. Roast it and eat it.
and then you hold it by the little hat when you eat
That's
it.
right. That's exactly right. I put the whole
love
thing in my
okra.
mouth. Yep, yep.
I never had kale until I worked at Poe, because I was like, ooh, kale.
That's something I have to learn to eat.
But we actually had the chef from UNC Rex Hospital come and work with our SNAP Ed kids and families, and they showed us how, you massage it and you mix it with like raisins and other ingredients, and it was delicious. And
right.
it really,
I've never
really
massaged kale. Maybe that's
It makes
my
a
problem.
big difference, makes it a lot
really
more tender.
does.
Yeah. Because it's bitter to me. I don't eat collards for the same
this
reason.
is not bitter, so
Okay. Yeah, I'm
just
gonna,
get
I'm
your
gonna look.
fingers going.
Okay. All right. All right. It's time for us to say goodbye. Thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you
in
for having us.
and driving from all the way from Raleigh.
We enjoyed it. We enjoyed
You
it.
have to come back again.
Will do.
Share
Well,
with
thank
us
you.
again. All right. We'll see you all next week with more Here's to Your Good Health. Good night.